Now, the rest of the story. One day, early in 1839, an inventor named Charlie made an accidental discovery. He stumbled upon a process that rendered raw rubber universally useful: vulcanization. Thereafter, Charlie began enumerating the potential uses for his new product, and he really got carried away. Charlie had discovered the process of vulcanization, and suddenly a whole world of rubber products sprang to his mind. Enumerating the potential uses of rubber became an obsession with Charlie. He wrote a 379-page book devoted entirely to such a list, in which nearly 1,000 rubber items were described and discussed. He filed for patents in which almost 500 potential uses were claimed. In 1851, he spent $30,000 on a rubber products exhibit for the World's Fair in London. He called the exhibit his Vulcanite Court. It took up more space in the exhibition hall than all other American exhibits combined. The display was actually a suite of 3 rooms in which everything was made of rubber. I mean everything. Roof and cornices and walls and carpeting, drapery and furniture, even paintings, carvings, jewelry, musical instruments, books, all made of rubber. In 1855, Charlie put together a similar exhibit for another World's Fair in Paris. This one cost him $50,000. And yet, as far as Charlie was concerned, no effort was too extravagant if it awakened the world to this new substance which he had made possible. Charlie envisioned and ultimately manufactured rubber sails for sailing ships, and pocket watches with rubber cases, and rubber handles for everything, drawers and doors, tools and utensils. He saw rubber bands and erasers, combs and raincoats, rain hats, many of the items we now take for granted as rubber, even more than you would ever imagine as rubber, pen points, portfolios, pianos, and blackboards and bedspreads and baggage. Charlie gave special attention to transportation. The horse, the carriage, the stagecoach. He conceived of rubber stall mats, coach curtains, decorative sashes, inflatable horse collars, carriage cushions. Oh, inflatables? You bet. Charlie suggested a long list of inflatable rubber items. He called them air work, A-I-R, air work. Everything from pillows and mattresses to pneumatic life preservers and musket covers, and boxing gloves, and even inflatable rubber ice skating caps to minimize head injuries. When it came to potential uses for vulcanized rubber, Charlie considered every possibility. Every possibility with one exception. You see, Charlie, the discoverer of the vulcanization process, the man who wrote an entire book of ideas for future rubber products, the inventor who described almost 500 potential uses for rubber in his patents alone, he, Charlie, thought of absolutely everything except one thing. He, Charles Goodyear, completely overlooked inflatable rubber tires. And now you know the rest of the story.
And now the rest of the story. Rubber is something we take for granted. We see rubber everywhere and use many products in our daily lives which are based on Charles Goodyear's designs. The soles of our tennis shoes, the protective handles on some of our tools, and of course, the tires on our cars. In March of 1843, Charlie began advertising his new patent-insoluble India rubber fabric products. The article in the Evening Post said, "A new discovery, strange as it may appear, Mr. Goodyear has produced a fabric which is not made frigid in the coldest weather, or softened by any degree of heat, nor can it be made adhesive. It resists alike the action of essential and common oils, the strongest acids, alkalis, hot soap suds, and all other solvents, while its elastic powers are much more perfect than the native gum, and it's not lost by long tension under any exposure. As this fabric is not liable to be injured by the great variety of causes that will ruin all other rubber goods, it is believed that the time is not far distant when India rubber, under Mr. Goodyear's improvements, will be used in the operations of almost every trade and profession. Charles Goodyear invited the public to visit his warehouse at number 100 Broadway in New York to examine the numerous products he had for sale. Take a look at this list of some of those. Some of the more interesting products included portable shower baths, baptizing pants, Russia belts for weak backs, cushions and pillows. How would you like to sleep on a rubber pillow? Air boots, air and water beds. But I thought water beds were an invention of the 1970s, and many, many more products. So of all the products Charles Goodyear envisioned rubber being used for, why did the list not include tires? To answer that question, we must look at transportation at that time. When Mr. Harvey mentioned tires, you probably envisioned the tires on our cars in our driveway just as I did. But in 1843, self-propelled people-carrying vehicles, cars, were a thing of the future. One inventor designed and built a scale model of a steam-powered vehicle in the 1670s, but it was not powerful enough to carry a human. 100 years later, a Frenchman built what is believed to be the first full-scale steam-powered tricycle. Other inventors attempted to build practical automobiles powered by steam or electricity, but wagons powered by horses remained the practical mode of personal transportation during Charles Goodyear's lifetime. The components of a wagon wheel, the hub, spoke, and felloes, were all made of wood. To protect those wooden components, the felloes plate, what we would now call a tire, was made of steel. Roads in that era were usually little more than trails, and wagon wheels had to be strong to take the continual abuse. Charles Goodyear was just ahead of his time. So what is vulcanized rubber? Mesoamerican cultures began using natural rubber thousands of years ago. Products made from natural rubber, however, wore out quickly because the rubber became sticky and gummy. Charles Goodyear searched for a way to overcome the problems with natural rubber, but he needed money. He found investors, but they quickly lost faith in Charles. He borrowed all the money he could and was even arrested and imprisoned for his unpaid debts. While everyone had given up on Charles and his experiments, he believed in himself to such a degree that he sold the furniture from his own house and moved his family into a boarding house. After years of experiments, he finally succeeded. He found the right combination when he mixed natural rubber and sulfur over a hot stove, a process he called vulcanization. His term for the process stuck. Today, tires are made from a mixture of as many as 200 ingredients. They're carefully molded for maximum comfort, performance, efficiency, reliability, and safety. I bet Charles Goodyear would be in shock if he were here today and saw the steady stream of cars driving around on rubber tires. Had it not been for Charles's unfaltering determination to improve rubber, we may still be driving around in wagons pulled by horses. If we all believe in ourselves as Charlie believed in himself, can you imagine what we can accomplish? I'm Brad Dison. Thanks for watching, and as Paul Harvey would say, good day.